we don't want to hear it. Sometimes I know there was things I didn't want to hear the truth of, but you were honest enough and respected and liked me enough to say, no, this is the way it is. Sorry. I mean, I wish I could sugarcoat it, but that's not
Right.
me. That's not what I do.
And I know, trust me, I know when I read for someone, when I tell them what they don't want to hear, I know they may not be back and I don't care. I can honestly say in the years I've been reading, I've made a pact with higher source and universe. I would never lie. And to this day, I can honestly say I've never thrown a reading, lied a reading, or fudged a reading. Never,
Yeah.
ever. And I would never do it to anybody because that is some serious stuff when readers do that. Now, I don't
Right.
know the other sites, what they do, but here's the thing with the other sites you got to remember too. Okay. So let's circle back to the Tarot Bridge. We take the lowest commission from our readers. Okay. So if they're on another site, they probably have to do 100 readings. And to make that kind of money, they only have to do 30 on my site.
Mm-hmm.
There's a big difference. And when you're not so pushed to do these readings and to get the return business, you look at things differently. You treat things differently. A lot of it's just human nature.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is. That's leads me into another question, which would be, since you're talking kind of about the soul of the Tarot Bridge,
Wait,
what's
I
at the
think I
heart
got
and
the
the,
same purple light. I did one
are,
purple, one yellow.
I did one purple, one orange. I got one purple, one orange. Yeah, see, it's the thing. We got that. Yeah. I wonder who your lighting designer is. Who's your lighting
Um,
designer?
Adam.
I know,
Well,
right?
he
It just
does
kind of comes off the rails
when I
sometimes.
need him for like IT or something. I always say, "Wait, could you do it in an accent?"
Yeah. I say, good evening. Good evening there, Miss Denise. But, talking about the heart and the soul of the Tarot Bridge, what would that soul look like? What would that personality be that you're wanting to kind of convey with the Tarot Bridge?
I want it to be a safe haven. I
Yeah.
want women to know that they can come into it. They can get a reading. We're going to start at, well, once we get into the Apple store, get into the app, we're going to add different functions to it also where, maybe you're going through, a financial problem and you want, some help. You can't afford to pay somebody a lot of money, but you got like one question. So you can ask, a financial person one question.
Sure.
Because there's a lot of facets to life. It's not just as Billy Bob coming back.
Oh, there's twice.
So, a lot of things, people face a lot of things. I mean, I look at my life, if I tell you where I came from, I mean, I didn't grow up easy, my mom was a single mom for a long time till she married my stepdad, but life was tough. I can remember her going through the couches looking for change. So life was tough there. We used to eat hot dogs a lot.
Lots of hot dogs.
I never had, here's a funny psychological thing. I never had new school clothes. And I can remember being teased. And now I'm like a clothesaholic. And if somebody says to me, Denise, I have a slightly used, whatever, could be designer or whatever, I can't use it. I can't take it.
Yeah.
You can't do it. It's childhood trauma, I think,
Yep.
I went to school. I did really well. My ex was very talented mechanic. Him and I opened our own business. We did really well. And I opened an angel store, but then our marriage was breaking down as, time was going on. And then unfortunately, he didn't hold up his end of the bargain to the point where I didn't know how I was going to feed my kids. I didn't know how I was going to send my kids to school because they had no insurance because he had cut their insurance. And they needed physicals. And in Connecticut, you need insurance to go to school. So what I ended up doing was, and a good friend of mine, Sue, well, wait, let me back up. Let me tell you the angel story. So my house was in foreclosure. I had to file bankruptcy. I didn't know, I was stuck in a lease. I had no way to get out of this lease. I had 3 children. He was on his new Harley with his bride driving somewhere. Well, why don't you hire a lawyer? With what money?
Yeah.
With what money? So I was telling somebody today, I had to go into, I see a nutritionist, so I had to go into the office and I was telling her the story too. And sometimes until you say it, you don't realize it, how it is. So anyway, one night I was laying in bed Kids were all asleep, and I had my bedroom door shut, and I would never cry in front of my children. Never. I would never show them that things were getting bad. And I remember it was, I had the room dark. I was trying to go to sleep and I was crying. And my dog, I had a golden retriever. Her name was Daisy. She
Oh,
had her, she was laying like on top of me, like she always did, very protective. And it was the oddest thing. All of a sudden, her head lifted up, and I looked towards the door because I was like, what is she looking for? Is one of the kids up? And the door never opened, but three angels walked in, and they were sheer, like you could put your hands through them. And I remember they came really close to the bed. And I remember looking at one with their hair and taking my hand and going through it. And it was like it wasn't there. And I remember hearing a voice, but I didn't hear the voice. The voice was inside of me. And it said, "You're going to be okay." And then I woke up. 2 weeks later, a really good friend of mine, she said to me, "Get together all your bank statements." She said, "Everything you have." I said, "Okay, that'll take like 5 minutes."
yeah.
And
You want all the bounce checks too? Because I got those.
I got those. And she took me down to social services, and I sat with the girl, and she went through everything. She got her glasses on, right? She's right, and she takes her glasses off, and she goes, "Miss Petrie," she goes, "you're about $10,000 below the line of poverty." Yeah, I know. She goes, "We're going to set you up with food stamps." She goes, "Kids need to eat." I
Take a
never
moment.
forget that.
Take a moment.
And she said, "We're going to give them insurance so they could go to school." And I've never been so relieved and so happy. And I said to her, "I have 2 years left on my lease." I said, "When it's over," I said, "I promise I'm done. I just need a little help. That's all I need is a little help."
Yep.
So in the interim, this lady walks in one day, and she was in my store before. And I don't know why. She asked me how I was, which was, it turned out, a huge mistake.
You're like, "Lady."
And I just start blurbing everything out. What my life is, what I'm going through. Not that I'm the only one, because there's a lot of women out there that suffer.
Yeah.
She looks at me, she goes, "Let me ask you a question." I go, "Okay." She goes, "Can you get $1,000 together?" I go, "Why?" She says, "I'm a support enforcement attorney." She goes, "I'll get you your money," she said, "for $1,000.
Oh yeah.
So fortunately, between Scrounge and my mom and everything, we did it. We took him to court. And I'll never forget, I remember that he stood in front of the judge, and the judge said to him, "I'm not going to see you here anymore. Am I, Mr. Petrie?" And he said, "No, sir." And that was it. He started paying, and that was it. But for the time he didn't, and what he put me through, I try to forgive. I really do, because I don't want his stuff on me.
Yeah.
And I don't want to waste my life now,
Right.
So anyways, closed the store, and I have a degree in accounting, closed the store, and gave up my little part-time bookkeeping job and went to go work where I just retired from.
Mhm.
And making decent money. Here's your, you can put your kids on your insurance. I felt like the richest woman in the world.
Yeah.
And I called her up, my social worker, and I thanked her, and I said, I don't need you anymore, but I thank you for the time I did need you. And she said to me, she goes, "This is how our program should work."
That's how it should work.
Yeah. So, yeah. So people look at me now and they say, "Oh, you're so well put together and you must have money and all this." And that's why I say, be careful who you judge,
Yeah. Yeah.
So I have this affiliation with women who need help. Like, I want to help them because I know what it feels like. And I know they can do, there's so much more they can do. They just have to believe in themselves,
Yeah. You're empowering women. I mean, really, just through your readings, and even, like we were joking about, the various things, and people don't want to hear the things that are the truth. They want to hear something that's a sugar-coated story. But, telling them the truth, that's really, truly empowering them. You're giving them all the information that is just honestly from you and the truth, and you're giving them the benefit of your life experience to
Yeah.
try to help them move forward. That is the very definition of empowering women.
Yeah. I mean, I've come a long way. It's been a long time. I think it's 16, 17 years since all of that. My kids are all big, thank God.
Yep.
They're all self-contained.
Yep. They're all self-contained.
They're all good, thank God. We all made it through. Maybe we're better and closer, that we did. I think, it helped me. I always believe adversity makes you stronger if you
It
use
does.
it the right way. I'm
Yeah.
not bitter, I'm just not bitter.
No, there's no
I
point in that because all you do is continue to keep yourself connected to that, and you got to just cut
and
it
then
loose and let it
it
go.
ages you and you look
Yeah.
ugly and
Carrie Busey. Excuse me.
when I read for women, a lot of times they'll say, "Oh, but you don't know, like he broke my heart." Oh, I know. Trust me, I know. I've had my heart broken, ripped out of me and served to me. I know what it's like. And I know. Just leave your hand up.
Just leave it up. Everyone watching the live, I'm just going to be leaving this up. Just assume that it just means that yes to everything. Yes.
Yeah. So, you know what? I'm taking a lot of years, a lot of experience, and I'm putting it into something I'm very passionate about. And when you walk away from either me as a reader or one of my readers or the Tower Bridge, I'm telling you, you're going to feel empowered and you're going to feel better. And we're going to make sure our reading tells you how to help yourself because you've come looking for answers, and a good reader will kind of go outside the perimeter. She won't just read what's there. She'll kind of give you some things and say some things, and that's a good reader for you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I completely understand.
Mm.
I've had a good reader there. Yeah, absolutely. For many years.
Yeah.
So here's one that I love that you